What's up, y'all? Dennis here from Do It All Garage. I wanted to do a video on replacing my thermocouple, or some people call it a thermocoupler, on my State Select water heater. I've never done this before. I don't mess with appliances if I don't have to. I saw a lot of YouTube videos, and basically how I diagnose the problem, if you want to call it a diagnosis, is if your pilot light keeps going out, and you can try to relight it and everything, and sometimes it'll stay on and work for a while, it goes out again. Basically, if your pilot light keeps going out, 99% of the time it's your thermocouple. Okay, well, again, I saw a lot of videos on how to replace one, and places like Lowe's and Home Depot and pretty much any hardware store, they all carry universal thermocouples, which are they'll work on like 99% of all water heaters. But the reason I wanted to do a video on this one is because my thermocouple has a resistor in it, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, here's the burner assembly. I've already taken it out. You got your wire for the igniter right here. This is part of your thermocouple, and this is your gas line for your pilot light. Well, that resistor right there, let's see if I can zoom in on it. It's a little inline resistor for the thermocouple, and most of the universal ones do not have that part in them, and I couldn't find it at Lowe's or Home Depot or anywhere, so I bought it online. I actually got it on Amazon, and I'll try to include a link in my video of where I bought it. But anyway, here is the package it came in. I wasn't 110% sure if that was going to be right or not, but it turns out it is. It looks like everything is the exact same. It's got that same little resistor in it. All these little brackets are the same. It's even got this little rubber grommet that goes right there, and the fittings are the same. What I would recommend doing is, before you assemble this and then try to put it back in your water heater, I would make sure that all these fittings are the same. Okay, because you're gonna have to take it back off. So anyway, let's go over here to the water heater real quick. Let me get some light on it. It's a State Select. Okay, I don't know who makes it. I don't know if that's the actual brand or if another company makes it for State Select. I have no idea. I didn't really want to spend a lot of time on it either. I believe this one's about a 40 gallon. There's some information on mine. It's got this kind of set up for the regulator. Now what you want to do, mine has on, pilot, and off right there on this little switch. You want to make sure it's off for obvious reasons. And you also want to shut your gas line off. If the gas line or the knob is that way, that means it's off. If it's parallel with the lines, that means it's on. So you want to turn it that way and shut it off. You don't have to disconnect the gas line. When you do take the burner assembly out, you're going to smell a little bit of gas because there was already some gas, in the line. So that's normal. But you want to do this in a ventilated area if possible. There's a lot of ashes and stuff in there, but I'm going to try to get a little shot. See, that's where it goes in, and that little bracket right there actually holds the burner assembly in place. So, whew, man, it's hot in my garage. So I'm going to try to set my camera up where you guys can see this. Okay. Oh, and there's also instructions on this bag. This actually came with some kind of insulator or wrap or something, and it was in this bag. And it also came with this, you know, I guess fiberglass insulation. So I'm going to try to replace all that too while I have it out. But here we go. So I'm going to get this new part out of the way first. There's a screw right in here that holds this assembly on. So I'm going to take that screw out. And guys, obviously you want to make sure this thing is cool to the touch before you take it out. Excuse me, mine had went out sometime earlier in the day. I've been battling with this thing for about a week or so. It would shut off. My wife would wake me up screaming at me because she had to go to work and you know, take a shower, and there's no hot water, so I don't blame her. But anyway, I'd come out here and I'd keep relighting it, and sometimes it would work for 20-30 minutes, sometimes it'll work for 2 days, but it kept going out. So and the cost of this new part was about 35 bucks, by the way. I also found a whole burner assembly and everything with it's already all attached, but I didn't really need a burner. This one's working fine. This water heater is about 10 years old. It was new when the house was built. We moved into it when it was new, so I didn't really think I needed a new burner assembly, and this one looks fine. Just had some ashes on it, which you want to clean that off while you have it out. But anyway, so I'm going to try to turn this screw without stripping it. Looks like it's just a little self-tapping screw. Get my needle nose. Let's see if that'll take it out. Yep. Came right out. Get my magnetic parts tray right there. And there is another screw right here on the bottom. Same deal, it's a little self-tapping screw. So, I'll look and see how this came off. Kind of wrestle that out of there. I'm just going to leave that old insulation on. It looks fine. So right here, hopefully you guys can see this. There's a little tab right here, and that's what you want to line up. Try to get some different angles there so you can see it. So I'm going to put that right in there. It goes right back in there. We're in that square hole. And these things are flexible, so you can bend them around a little bit. This might take me a minute to get it in there. That's what she said, right? Okay, I'm going to put my screw back in there. Get that nice and tight. And Okay. Before I put that second screw in, I'm going to take these and wrestle them through that little hole right there. Trying to be careful not to bend or break anything. Okay, just trying to get the lip of this grommet. Flathead will help with that. Okay, hopefully you can see this. I'm just popping that grommet back in there correctly, or attempting to. You want to get the lip over there so everything stays in place. Looks close enough to perfect for me. So okay, so now I'm going to take this and get my screw in there. You want to try to do it without damaging that resistor or bending stuff up as little as possible. Self-tapping screw fit in there just fine. Okay. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to bring it back over here now, and I'm going to try to set this up where you guys can see it. Okay. Alright, and another thing, like I was saying earlier, that little tab right there, that's what this is going to rest on. This pipe right here. Okay. It's going to basically hold it up right there and give it support. It's not super heavy, but again, it just tries to kind of keep it in place. So that's what we're looking for. So and you have to kind of wiggle this thing around in there. Okay, just so make it a little easier on you. We're looking at the underneath side of that box right now. Okay. This right here is where your thermocouple goes in. That's your gas line. And over here to the far right, that's where your pilot gas line is going to go in. I'm going to try to get this threaded in here. Okay. This needs to be pulled out a little bit. Straighten that up to where I can get that fitting in there. This is not an easy job to do for a fat man. It's not too bad. The hardest part is just being on the ground. Okay. The thermocouple is going to be the copper line. Okay. And what I didn't show in the video is how I checked to make sure that was the same thread and everything, so it'll go in there with no issues. Okay.
Daddy.
Okay, guys. I got it back in there. You want to make sure nothing is, mine has this little glass window. I don't know if all of them do or not. But these three lines, again, this is your pilot line. The copper looking one is your thermocouple. And this right here is your pilot lighter. And that's your main gas line that goes to your burner. That's also got a little grommet. It's flexible. But if something is bunched up inside of there, you can stick a light through that little hole and check it out. If it is, you can pull on these fairly gently and just kind of straighten them out. And you can coil these up as well, because this cover is going to go back on there. So now there's these little studs on either side of this, and I'm going to put those on. Be careful not to drop them too, or cross thread them, because you'd probably have a heck of a time digging them out of there. And there's one. There's two. I'm just using regular little wrenches on this, little open end wrenches. But it's taking forever. So I'm going to use those. I'm a Milwaukee man, if you didn't know. Get those on there nice and tight. Okay. Now, the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hook this wire back up. I'm going to show you here. Sorry again for the weird camera angles. I'm trying to hold my phone and do this. You just connect that to there, and that's it. So I'm going to do that real quick. And there's a little sleeve that comes on it. You just want to cover it up, and that's it. Now, what we want to do first is turn the gas back on. I don't hear any leaks. Turn it on this way. Don't hear any leaks. You can purge any air out of there by holding this button down. That's off. And that's on pilot. When you put it on pilot, you want to have the dial set to pilot lighting. Right there. Okay. You want to hold that button down. Hold it down for a minute or two. Okay. See that little flame in there? You want to turn the gas back to on, which I already did. And then I like to leave it somewhere right between A and C. And as you can see, it's lighting back up. And that little thing right there towards the bottom, that's actually where the thermocouple and the igniter and the pilot gas line are. So that's it. I'm going to put this cover back on. Again, these are flexible. If I can remember, this goes you don't want to bend them so much that you kink them up, but it does need to be on there. It's important. So that slides right into there, and this one goes on there, and voila, it's all good. Now that drain valve, I started draining mine about a week ago when I started noticing problems. There's not a regular knob. You'll either need a pretty big flathead screwdriver, or you can use some pliers on it. You don't want to crush it though, because it is brass. But mine started leaking. It's never leaked in 10 years until I opened that thing up. But when I did open it up, a lot of calcium and just sediment and stuff came out of it. I emptied it out into like a clear plastic tea jug, like a gallon size. And luckily mine's here in the garage, so I can just pour it out in the yard or the driveway. But you want to empty that thing out about once a year. And why I think mine's leaking is I think some of that sediment got caught up inside the seals or something, and it's not letting it seal all the way. So I'm going to empty it out a few more times and see if I can get it to stop dripping. So anyway, excuse me. So that's my video. So I hope that helps some of y'all out. If you got any questions or comments, they're more than welcome. And like and subscribe if you like my channel. Thanks a lot.